And
well, I'm Tina Conkin coming to you from Relationship Lifeline, and I have my good friend with me, April Osteen Simons.
Hey, glad to be here.
And we're in California.
Yes.
How long have we been trying this? It feels like it's been a year we've been trying to.
Yes.
And I think the last time we got together was in Mexico, didn't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mexico is one of our favorite places, but here we are. I asked April, I just wanted to, she's just written a new book, so let me start with that. Better Than Ever. And while she was writing it, she sent me some little snippets of chapters. She really did. And some of the stories she shares in there, I've heard her when she's been speaking at a conference, are some of my favorite. And one of the ones that I want you to talk about today, because there's the work that I do with families and couples and individuals, is helping them recognize patterns, patterns that we have that we bring into our relationships. And a lot of things that we bring into our relationships is because of what we saw, heard, and experienced growing up. And there's certain things in our growing up years, I don't know if you did this, but I did, I'm never going to be like that. Or I'm never going to raise my kids like that, or I'm going to be different, But yet we don't understand that if you don't break the pattern, you just do those very things you dislike about how you were raised. Right. And there is a chapter in April's book that I want her to talk about, and it's called Break the Cycle. And I think your dad's in that as an example, because I believe that, a lot of us talk about generations, but at some point, I remember my husband when he found that anger of his dad's had transferred to him, and though he was not an angry man himself, if he got to a certain place and then it was like a room could be destroyed, it didn't happen often, but he knew the root was there. Right. And the very things he said as a boy was exactly that. I'll never be like my dad. As soon as my dad raises his voice, the whole room scattered, And he thought he'd never be that way until something was triggered, and then he found himself, and it would surprise him too. And so what I loved about your book, so many chapters, I love your garbage can one. That's one of my favorites. Maybe we'll do a different one on that one. But the one that really resonated with me is because you use the word decision in that chapter. Breaking the cycle of what you saw, heard, and experienced that really took a deep set, like a root in you, right? So tell us the story about that particular chapter.
Well, I called it Break the Cycle because it starts way back with my dad. He grew up in poverty, grew up in the Great Depression, had to stand in line for food. He was born in 1921. And anyway, he made the decision when he was a young adult that, I'm not going to experience this poverty anymore. It's not going to continue to run in my family. And he made the decision as a young adult, probably in the 30s, that it ran in the family till it ran into me. And he
say that again.
It ran in the family until it ran into me. So he took a stand and he just said, no more poverty. My family will not experience this anymore. So because my dad took the stand long before I was ever born, man, thank goodness, it gives me chilly willies, because he changed it for me. He changed it for my family because of one decision that he made. It didn't look like he was going to come out of it. It didn't seem like it, but he made a decision, and it's not instant. It happens. You work toward the thing that you're focusing on. There's another story I told in this chapter, and it was about a pastor. It happened to be about a pastor. He had kids, married to a beautiful lady, had a good marriage, but once he had kids, he did not know how to be a father. He grew up in an abusive home. His father never told him he loved him. He didn't know how to be a father for his firstborn, and then another baby came, and he said, God, I don't know how to be a father. And this is what's so great. He realized one of his best friends was an excellent father. He had great kids. He loved his wife. He had a great family, and he had this novel idea. I'm just going to copy and learn what I see him do. And he stayed around that man for months and months and months until he learned, he watched, he saw, and he decided that ran in the family till it ran into him. He found a mentor, he emulated that, and he's a great father. This is what I hear so much, Tina. You know what? My parents didn't say I love you. And so I'm uncomfortable saying I love you to my kids. You know what, you're just like you said, you're repeating past behaviors that you hated, and yet you think, I can't get out of this cycle. You have to say this, you know what, maybe I didn't come from a healthy family, but that doesn't mean a healthy family can't come from me. I gotta say that one again.
Yeah,
you may not have come from a healthy family, but that doesn't mean a healthy family can't come from you. Make the decision, break the cycle, and man, things can get really great for your family.
You know, for those of you that know me or have gone through Lifeline, one of the things that I share at that first hour of the class is I will bring out a magic wand, you know, that you get at Disneyland. And I know your girls are coming, you're going to Disneyland.
Yeah.
But, you know, you buy them at Disneyland and they light up and, you know, they show all kinds of cute things. And if I were to say to my 4-year-old, I know you have a grandchild too, but if we were to say to our grandchildren, you know, make a wish.
Yeah.
And we gave them that and it lit up, their eyes would light up and they would wish for something, they would actually believe it could happen. Something happens to us, right? And we stop believing in the fairy godmother and the Santa, and we should. They're not real. We should stop believing at some point. I mean, if you're my age and you still think there's a Santa, we've got other issues, right? But in the workshop, this is what I say. You know, if I could make you believe you had this, it would change and transform your whole life.
Right.
And then I will show them the very thing that they don't think they have is what you just said. See, we have the power of decision.
Yeah.
A child doesn't. That's why a child is a victim in many we were victims if we were hurt or traumatized or something happened to us, or a product of divorce.
Right.
We don't get to make that decision as children if your parents are going to divorce, right? Or where you're going to spend the weekend and all that comes with it. Children really are victims. But as adults, we're not, because we've got this magic wand and it's called decision. And when your dad is a young man, an adult with his own mind, and some decisions can be made as children, right? And they stay with you and it has power.
Yeah.
And that can be on the negative side or the positive. And so what I love about both those stories is, one, that man didn't know how. So he revealed his own weakness, right? Never be afraid of your weakness. Right. It's not about denial, right? And I think that's what you're teaching in your book. Better than ever doesn't mean you're just pretending, right? Doesn't mean there's no trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lord knows we've gone through trouble.
Right.
And, you know, we were just talking with a young mom on my live and how she knows no matter how much she does self-improvement, you're still, your little children, you're gonna blow it, you know? But does the dysfunction stop with you? Does the not saying I love you stop with you? And if you don't know how, that's where you ask for help. Right. Do we have time? Can we tell the garbage story?
Yeah, okay, we can tell it.
Yeah, tell the garbage. And I think that's about how busy we get in life.
It is.
That story.
It's a funny story because I have 5 kids, and when they were younger, I was bringing them home from school. It was late, about 8 or 9 at night, and we decided to drive through a new Mexican food restaurant because I didn't want to go home and cook.
That's reality too.
That's reality. So we pull up to the menu board, and I get all the kids' orders, and 7 people to order for. So I got all the orders, and then my rule is when I pull up to the intercom, they have to be quiet. Right. So the window went down, everybody got quiet. I gave 2 orders, and after 2 orders, my kids began to giggle a little bit, and I did this. I said, y'all be quiet, I gotta focus. So I gave my 3rd order. I was doing just perfectly, getting jalapenos right, getting the cheese just right. My 4th order, and I thought, something's kind of weird. So I looked right into that intercom and I said, are you there? Are you getting this? Is anybody hearing me right now? And as soon as I said that, my kids started rolling laughing. I mean, I looked in the rearview mirror. My son was bowed over backwards. My girls were laughing. My oldest in the front seat had tears coming down her eyes. And it made me mad because I was getting it just right. And I finally said, what is going on? And my son Garrison,
he was laughing. No matter how many times you tell this story.
Garrison leaned up, probably at 15 or 16, right in my ear very loudly, said, Mom, you are talking to a garbage can. True story. Y'all, I thought it was a.
I remember now.
thought
I'm
it
going
was
to give you some
intercom.
benefit of the
Yeah.
doubt. Okay, it was
You
a
saw
new,
it, yeah.
It was a new restaurant.
Had the
so
spout.
Yes,
It
yes.
looked like an intercom. I didn't know. And my point is, I start my book out with that. My point is this: I had gotten so busy in life doing that I lost sight of being.
Yeah.
I was doing good things. I was getting my kids fed. Hey, I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I was so busy in life that I failed to see where I had parked my life. And it was full of garbage.
I know.
And the truth is, Tina, it was so easy. Small tweaks lead to big peaks. All I had to do was pull up a few feet ahead to where there was life.
Where there was real.
So the point of my story in here is to say every morning sometimes we got to roll down the window of our life and see, where did I park my life today? Is it in front of negativity? Is it in front of anger? Is it in front of bitterness?